everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Movies That Move We. Today we are discussing Color Purple, the musical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where this is concerned, there were a lot of people, myself included, who were like, we didn't ask for this. Just let the original be what it be.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We don't need more music in it. You know, God is trying to tell you something, and Miss Seeley's Blues. That was enough. We were good with that. Disclaimer, I haven't read the book, so I can't say I know this for sure and what parts were more like the book or not, but I think the difference with this is that it did go more according to the book than the original did.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I think I feel the way a lot of people felt about it. And me saying that, I'm saying it in a way like I was really looking forward to when it first came out. Now that I've watched it a couple times, I'm still kind of like, okay, the original's still better. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I appreciated about the second one was I feel like it kind of broke certain parts down a little bit more, which is probably more similar to the book.
Yeah.
Because there were certain parts of the film, the musical, I'm sorry, that I feel like kind of gave a little bit more insight in certain ways. Like, I feel like the part where they're kind of discussing like her and Suge's relationship, that was delved into a little bit more, because in the film it was just kind of like, okay, you got a little snippet of what was going on, but you didn't really know what was going on. You had to kind of, it was left to our imagination to figure it out. And I think based off of the time where it was made, they didn't really want to dive too deep into it like how they can now.
Yeah.
And then the other part I appreciated too was when Sophia went to jail, they actually showed like Celie kind of being a support system to her, because in the first one it was kind of like, you know, they had that whole argument about Celie telling Harpo to hit her or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, I felt like they never resolved that in the first film. So it was kind of like when she came to the dinner in the first film and she started crying and thanking her and everything like that, I was kind of like,
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but in this one, it made sense, because it was kind of like, okay, they had that fight, but then after the fight, it was kind of like they resolved it a little bit, and then when she went to jail, she was really there for her in a big way. So, and I could see where she got so emotional and felt the need to thank her at the dinner table. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I feel half and half about it. I feel like it kind of needed to be done because there were certain parts of the first one that weren't really discussed. But at the same time, I kind of see where people are like, the first one's still better.
Yeah. I think I hit a point where I was like, another song. But it wasn't so much that for me it
I feel like it was balanced. I feel like the most the beginning and like towards the end were the most singy parts. I feel like throughout the film though, it wasn't
pretty
too bad.
It was pretty balanced. They didn't sing the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, like I said, there was a point where I was like, is this song gonna end? Because I want to get to the part with Miss Seeley's pants. I want to get there. And it's like this song was holding it up.
I'm fine.
But I think it was an artistic choice that they made to go with the musical, and with it being on Broadway. Now, of course, if you put it on Broadway, it's going to do better as a musical than anything else. But I also hate the way everything is being turned into a musical. For example, we didn't need Spider-Man the musical. I didn't go see it, but I didn't think there was a need
I didn't even
for
know
Spider-Man.
That.
And since they did it, I think a couple of actors have been badly injured, and I think at least one died. You know, trying to do the coming out of the ceiling stunt. But that aside, I think this movie would have done just as well if they just remade it in the same order that they did this with the songs that they had in the first one.
Now, I'm going to sound a little biased by saying this, but I really, really, really loved Danielle Brooks in this movie. Mm. And I'm only saying I'm a little biased about it because I've always just thought she was a great actor. I've always loved her from when she was in Orange is the New Black. I just loved her character then. And she really, I feel like, I don't know if her and Oprah were holding hands the whole time during production and rehearsal and all that, but she really didn't make me miss, because I'm gonna say Sophia was my favorite character out of the whole movie, and she didn't make me feel like she didn't do Sophia justice, or I felt like I was missing out on Sophia, and that was kind of like,
or that I was watching Oprah all over again.
Yeah, she really took that part on her own, but it was still like, okay, we have the essence of Sophia. Like, she really wasn't playing any games in this movie, but it was just so good, and I felt like even her songs were probably my favorite songs out of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Like, they were entertaining, they were funny, they were real. Like, I just loved it. But I think even in this movie, she was my favorite out of everybody. Like, she was my favorite character. I was kind of sad about the scene where she fought Mouse, because in the original
she took her right across that whole juke.
And it was just, what made it funny was in the original there was a part where basically when she said "fine by me" the first time, mm-hmm. the guy said, "All right, time to go."
I needed them to put that part back in. I needed that part back in there, because all you saw was the guy on the piano, and he was like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah,
I needed gotta go. I needed that.
I needed like more of the little dramatics, because that was so funny in the first one. That's like my favorite part. So like, I don't know, it was like little stuff, but I do appreciate, even, you know what, I have to say, even how I kind of like how they told the story. And I don't know if it was in the book, because I didn't read the book either, but I even kind of liked how they told the story of how her sister left this time a little bit better than the original, because it was kind of just like, oh, okay, he keeps following her around and she keep blowing him off, she don't want him or whatever. But they really didn't, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't feel like they really went in depth with, like, you know, okay, her father was messing with her or whatever, and then when she came to the house, she had to ask Mr. permission, and then, like, it kind of, I feel like the first one, it was just more about, like, okay, she came to the house and then started teaching Celie words, and then got kicked out or something like that, because...
Well, I think what made it feel a little more different is they showed the relationship, the correlation between Nettie and Mr., and then they showed the family dynamic between Nettie, Celie, and their dad, which, by the way, I did not recognize Deon Cole. I didn't realize that's who the father was.
I'm screaming.
I had to go look. I'm like, why does this guy
I was kind of
look
disappointed, because I felt like he was too handsome for that role. I know that sounds crazy, but I just saw, like, the original one, I was like, ew, gross. Like,
I mean, he was handsome, but he was still, he brought that energy, scary authority to the thing. He played that role well. But I think establishing, okay, this is what life before was for them, mm-hmm. and this is what life was after being at Pa's house.
And they even showed the mom. Like, in the original, they don't talk about the mom at all. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like the mom was just kind of non-existent. I just feel like if you watch... Okay, this is how I could explain it. If you watch this one first, you watch the musical first, mm-hmm. and then you watch the older one second, a lot more stuff might click. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound like this movie was a complete waste, or it wasn't at all. I feel like Halle Bailey did a good job. I loved her as young Celie. Mm-hmm. Fantasia did a really, really good job.
Yes.
Even the singing for me, like, I don't know. I'm a musical person, so it didn't bother me.
She's always loved musicals. So here's the thing, and I heard about it before I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, wow. That makes so much sense. The scene where Celie was giving birth to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopi Goldberg was the midwife.
Mm-hmm.
And what she talked about, she said, when they asked me to come back, I didn't want a big role, but they asked me to come back and they made me the midwife. And that scene was kind of like me, former Celie, passing the mantle on to the new Celie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, and then when I saw it, I was like, perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah.
Mr. First of all, Coleman Domingo played the mess out of that. He was the right amount creepy, the right amount mean. He's never, ever, ever going to be Danny
I didn't
Glover.
hate him as much as I did.
And I didn't need to.
When I saw the first one,
listen. Nobody is ever gonna not hate Danny Glover because of that.
I will say, I feel like he made it more. Domingo, he made it more. He was a little bit more palatable to me, or like, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's kind of like
he humanized him a little bit more. You think?
Yeah, because towards the end, it was kind of like it wasn't hard for me to forgive him. In the first one, even when he did that for Celie, I said, yeah, you should have been did that. And I was so mad at him.
Well, I think they showed a little bit more of what happened to him afterwards.
Because that's what I was going to say next, is that I feel like in this one, they kind of touched a little bit more on his backstory a little bit and why he was so miserable. I feel like in the first one, because they didn't do that, we just really wanted to wring his neck by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But because,
which is fine.
You kind of really, even though they did mention his dad kind of having so much control over him in the first one, it wasn't really in depth like, okay, I really wanted to be with Suge, but my dad told me that I had to.
They didn't spend a lot of time on that in this one.
They didn't, but they explained it. I think in the first one, it wasn't really explained that well. Because, like, basically, in this one, I forget what part it was, but he said that. He said, I wanted to be with Suge or whatever, and I wanted to play music. But my dad didn't want me to do that. He wanted me to stay here and basically tend to the fields. And that's why I didn't go off and basically be with her and be happy. He said I had to stay here, tend to the fields, marry some woman that my dad approved of that wasn't fast and loose and in the streets, and have kids with her. She passed on, and then I'm just here left with all these kids that I didn't even really want.
Yeah.
So it's easier to sympathize with his character in this film than it was the other one, because you just saw him as this mean guy.
I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have Lou Gossett Jr., who was playing his father. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't. The role didn't give him. It didn't seem like it gave him space to be as mean as the original Pa.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, yeah, I see what's going on, but this is your problem now. Pass me that drink. He was almost nice. He was almost
nice.
Yeah,
he wasn't as mean as the first one.
Yeah.
He was like, I feel like he was a little bit nicer to Celie than the first guy was.
Yeah.
Than the one in the first film, but I don't know. I feel like it would have been the best movie ever if they combined both of them together. That's really how I feel in my mind. Like, if both of them were combined together, it would be the best movie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, overall, I think they did a good job putting this together. I also didn't recognize her.
I did. I don't know why everybody says that.
I did.
Because when I was watching the halftime show, she came out her little guitar. I was getting all excited. I was like, "Oh, look at her!"
Well,
and then my boyfriend, he was like, "Who's that?" And I said, "That's her." And he was like, "That's her?" And I said, "Yes." It was like people. Maybe because she changes like her hair, or I don't know what it is.
Part of it was the hair.
Yeah,
it was just she really melded into a whole different character.
Yeah.
Just by changing her hair, because normally you're used to seeing her with her hair all the way down her back. You know, she has sunglasses on, and it's not. I don't think she ever dresses provocatively anyway. But it's like the way she dresses is a whole different energy.
I will say I didn't feel like she was as much of a character than the first.
Yeah,
the first mouse, because the first mouse,
Squeak.
Squeak. I'm sorry. She had the whole like squeaky voice. She was very animated. Mm-hmm. She did the ha ha ha. She did all that, so it made you feel like okay, like this is a little pop of energy. I feel like her was very calm throughout the whole film. Not saying that she didn't do a good job. I just felt like she was very calm, and I feel like her role is already so short. I felt like she kind of got lost a little bit. That's just my opinion. I feel like she got lost a little bit, and I feel like her should have really been a little bit more animated to kind of like really bring herself out. And I don't mean animated like not be herself, but just like animated like okay,
the attitude, a stronger
attitude, because she was very calm.
She was calm, and she was, what's the word I'm looking for? She didn't have the competitive spirit that Rae Dawn Chong had in the original role.
Yeah.
You know, when Celie showed up with Buster at the juke joint in the first one.
You mean Rae Sophia?
I'm sorry, Sophia showed up with Buster. Rae Dawn Chong was like, who is this?
Who this woman?
It was like, oh, you're going to answer me because I'm your woman now. Who this? Why is she here?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And her was just like, who is this?
Yeah.
Who is this? So, I don't know. It's different. I don't think it took away from the scene.
To be honest, I feel like her should have played, maybe it was because she wasn't old enough, but I feel like her should have played the mother that took Adam and Olivia.
Yeah, but it would have been such a minimal role for her. Excuse me. I don't know. I think she was the right person for the role. I think overall the musical had a different energy from the first. I don't think it was any less dramatic. It was just different dramatic. And because we have all seen the original Color Purple about 1 million times already, we have the expectation that there's certain spots that should just be exactly the same. I think each actor brought their own thing to it. Excuse me. And the energy was what the energy was all the way across. There wasn't somebody acting up here and somebody else right here. They were all level. Now, Shug Avery.
I think Taraji did a really good job with that role. I feel like it still had the same essence in the first film.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hers was very I feel like they were very symmetrical. Like, if I were to put 2 and 2 together, they both fit that role.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't sit back and say, like, oh, I don't think, these are my qualms about Taraji. I think she should have did better in this, that, and the third. I really feel like she was a good fit for the role. Now, however she felt about doing the role is a whole nother situation.
I don't think she had a problem with the role.
Well, she did say, why are we doing this again?
Okay, maybe she had the problem with the whole movie, but I think
she said, I don't feel like we need to be redoing this movie.
I mean, didn't I say at the beginning a lot of people felt that way? Still do feel that way.
I mean, I do kind of feel that way too, but
I think what we heard from her had more to do about the production, and I think this was, I don't know how much anything cost. I don't know what their lunch cost. I don't know how much set building costs, none of that. But I think it's for as big a production as this is, like the original movie, that is classic. It's classic. It's not going anywhere. People will always have this debate that we're having between first one, second one. But I think they thought about it in terms of what they did the last time. And they didn't consider how much more they may have needed to put into it. It sounds like at certain places they were cutting corners to make the production what it needed to be. And Taraji was like, wait a minute. You called us in here to do this great thing and y'all not even feeding us lunch. We're sharing trailers. And to her point, she's part of the Black A-list. Some people may disagree with that, but she's been in most of the Black films that we know and love, you know, so it's kind of like I can get where she was like, hold on a minute. You got too many great actors here for us to be sharing space, dressing rooms and stuff like that. So I think on the back end, she was saying, if this is such a valuable story to tell, you're bringing us in as your storytellers, show us the value on this end of things.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but her performance, A+. And she sang all of her own songs. Now, that's what I wanted to hear, because I'm like, I don't think I ever heard Taraji sing a note.
I feel like she sang a little bit in the Tyler Perry movie, I Can Do Bad All By Myself. I think some parts were sang by somebody else, but I think other parts were sang by her. I think it was like a mixture.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have heard her sing before.
Yeah. But, there was a part, what was I just about to bring up about the role? Oh, well, I was going to point out that somebody else sang her parts, sang Suge Avery's parts. In the original, Tata Vega sang those parts. I didn't know that until someone told me about 10, 15 years later.
I could kind of see that being a thing.
She lip synced very well in the first one. So, I don't know. Again, overall, it wasn't bad. Did I think it needed to be remade? Not really. And if they remade it, they could have just did it as a straightforward script and filled in those blanks for us.
I have to say, there was this, and I didn't realize that about this movie until there's this little girl, and if you're able to find her and tag her in this or whatever and put it in the comments, you have to. But this little girl, she recreates like the movie scenes from different like Black films or whatever. I think her name was like Ruby or something. I forget. But like basically like she redid the table scene, the dinner table scene. And it was hilarious. And Oprah actually watched the video and she conferenced in with the little girl's mom and the little girl, and she said, I really just wanted to reach out to you because I just want to let you know that the dinner table scene was actually the hardest part of the movie to film in the original. And she said that it actually took us, I believe she said 3 to 5 days to film that part alone.
Wow, really?
Yeah, she said it was the hardest part of the film to do. So she really commended.
Did she say why?
I forget. She didn't really go into why, but she just told the little girl, like, I just want you to know that I am so impressed with you that you were able to get that done. It's just you playing all these different characters.
And this little girl is good. If we find one of the videos, I'll definitely post it in the group. I think I've posted her before because she's done.
She did the 5 heartbeats. She did Waiting to Exhale.
That one is, I think, her best.
What's Love Got to Do with It? She's done all these different parts, and she plays like every character. So she'll play the men and she'll play the women, and it's hilarious because she'll wear like, if somebody's bald or whatever, she'll wear like just a brown stocking cap, and it's just so funny. But yeah, I
Yeah.
forget her name, but
I think it is something like Ruby.
I think it is Ruby or something like that.
Yeah.
But Oprah actually invited her to the premiere after they had that conversation because she was just so impressed with her doing the dinner table scene, and the little girl, she got dressed up in purple and
Aw.
everything. She was just so excited to meet Oprah. But I thought that was really cool, and I really hope that, because I believe, I don't know if her mom was a producer or an actress or something, but it seems like her mom is trying to kind of groom her to become an actress because it seems like that's what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope that maybe like Oprah kind of reaches out that olive branch and like lets her actually act in something for real. I think that would be really cool.
She probably will.
Yeah.
She probably will. So that's all we have for today. Would love to hear your thoughts on the movie. Did you think it needed to be remade? Do you care that it was remade?
Mm-hmm.
What could have been done better? What could have been left alone? Share your thoughts below. We want to hear from you. And we'll see you again next week with another movie. We haven't decided the next one yet, sorry. But we'll definitely be back next week with another film. So until next time, bye.